So let's talk about this review for a minute. I just want to share this with you guys because when I first got mold sick, this was the first paper I found that really helped me understand what was going on. And you can just type this in, Google it, and you'll find it. Or it's in my link in my Instagram and my YouTube. You can also find it there. But this is a very comprehensive overview of the symptoms of mold illness, and it talks about how this is becoming a bigger problem. So if you have a doctor who's willing to listen, you can try taking this to them. They may try to hand you off to somebody else if they're willing to listen, or they're going to tell you you're crazy. If you've already been there, you know how that is. But this goes over everything. Look, everything. There's not just mold involved with mold. There's also bacteria and endotoxins and microbial VOCs and other VOCs and chemicals that our bodies are not meant to handle. But it goes over the neurocognitive symptoms, oxidative stress, the respiratory colonization if you're having that going on, which is usually only in the sinuses. It can happen in the gut, but it's usually more in the sinuses. Treatment, avoidance, which is the number one thing. You guys, everyone keeps asking, how do I treat? How do I heal from mold? Well, unfortunately, getting out of it. I know that sucks. That's not the answer anyone wants, and there has to be another way. But unless you can afford to completely destroy every piece of building material in your home that is affected by water and get new and be out of the space while it's being redone and it has proper ventilation, unless you're willing to do that, then you need to get out of there immediately. And then it goes over some of these ways to treat. Sequestering agents, which are like binders. Antioxidants is huge. Probiotics. The right probiotic is very important because you cannot, if you are in mold, you probably have high histamine. You cannot be doing high histamine foods. So unfortunately, you can't go that route to heal your gut. But this right here, if you need proof to give to somebody, this is in the Science World Journal. This is a real journal, a real study, and there are tons of studies. And this just explains how mold greatly contributes to ill health effects, and it is extensively documented. It's extensively documented in literature, and you'll find even more studies now about the effect that mold has. But I just wanted to share this with those of you who are just coming into this. You're just figuring out that it might be mold. This study, this overview is a big one. There's a lot of material in here. It explains a lot of it to you. It explains the cofactors that go on. It explains exposure, and it's not just food, obviously. You inhale it. Your skin is the most absorbent organ on your body, and it absorbs everything. So that's a big one. Then it explains a little bit about some of the symptoms, and how it is carcinogenic, and there is renal toxicity, your kidneys, neurotoxicity, your brain, your nervous system, mitochondrial. It causes autoimmune disease. It can cause, like this right here, look, headache, insomnia, dizziness, anxiety, depression, irritability, gastrointestinal problems, tremors. All these things were things that I have dealt with while in mold, and I'm sure a lot of you are too. So this goes over a little bit of the HLA gene factor. That one is good. But anyway, if you can share this with your doctor and if you have one that's willing to listen and who will read this explains a very good overview of what molds do what, how they do it, what they cause, the symptoms, and it's just huge. But anyway, talking about avoidance, the role of glutathione. Some of you are going to be able to handle it and some of you can't. There are certain molds that you should not use glutathione with because it can cause it to be worse, and that we'll go over that another time. And then sequestering agents, which are like binders, chlorella, cholestyramine, clays, antioxidants, the right probiotics, and then things that are cheap that you can do if you can afford a little at home: sauna, rebounding, lymphatic massage, and things like that. But this is very extensive. If you can take this to your doctor that is willing to listen, go ahead. I'm sorry if you have one that's not, because most of them won't, and I totally have been there, and they just look at you like you're stupid just because they didn't learn it. So try to bring this into your healthcare provider. If not, you're going to have to take this into your own hands unless you can find someone who's willing to treat. I'm not currently taking clients right now. I may be able to open up space in the future, but for now, I'm just going to try and help the best I can in this way.